Hello and welcome back to Strategic IT Solutions. Today we are going to be discussing Elastic Compute Cloud, also known as EC2. And EC2 is a web service that provides secure, resizable compute capacity in the cloud. Basically, they are servers. So AWS has the server platforms, Windows and Linux, and they have all available operating systems for Windows and Linux, a variety of sizes. You get to choose your server type, your instance type, and these are easily resizable. So if you launch an instance and you decide 1 month down the line, a year down the line, that the capacity it needs to be increased. If you need to increase the capacity of that instance, you just shut it down and you just change the instance type and start it back up. So that's what they mean by easily resizable. So now I will demonstrate how to launch an instance. Now I will demonstrate how you can launch a Windows instance. From the EC2 services, you will click on Instances. You will click on the top right corner, Launch Instance. You will select your image, and we are going to be doing Windows, so you just want to scroll on down until you see Windows Server 2019 base image. This is free tier eligible, and you'll click Select. And for the instance type, I am going to do T2 Micro, which is the free tier. You will select the instance that better suits the specs that you need for your server. So I have T2 Micro, and I'm going to configure the details. I am only launching one instance. I would like this to be in my VPC, internal VPC. You're going to select your subnet. I am doing my DMZ, and I'm going to click Add Storage. I have a 30 gig drive. This is my root drive, and I'm going to choose to encrypt that hard drive. And here we have the option Delete on termination. This is automatically checked. If you would like to keep your root drive when you delete your instance, then you'll want to uncheck that. We're going to keep that checked, and then we're going to add a tag. So I'm going to give this a name, and it's going to be app server. And I'm also going to add a tag for department. And if you would like to add a tag for function, feel free to do so. And we're going to do our security groups. Here you can choose to create a new security group, or you can choose from an existing. I am going to choose my app server security group, and as you can see, this security group has 3389, which is RDP inbound allowed, and it's the only thing that is allowed. And we're going to click review and launch. Now you have the opportunity to just review all the options that you have selected. If you need to change anything, you may do so. I am going to click launch, and we're going to select our key pair. So you can choose an existing key pair, or you can choose to create a new key pair. I already have a key pair for my app server, and if you would like to know how to create a key pair, I will leave a link to that video here for you to see how I create key pairs, how you can create key pairs in AWS. So you acknowledge that you have the private key, and then you click launch. All right, and we see it's initiating, and this is your new instance ID. You can click on that, and it will take you to that instance. We see that it's in a state of pending, so we're going to wait on that to turn to running. And we also have some status checks that needs to be done, and those are 2 checks, so that needs to be completed. We can click on our new instance, and we can see our private IP, which is auto assigned. We see now it's running. Okay, we still need the checks to be completed. So our private IP is automatically assigned, we are going to assign a public IP so that we're able to access this new server. So on your left navigation, you're going to scroll on down to Elastic IPs. Elastic IPs are your public IP addresses. We'll click on that. We are going to allocate an Elastic IP. And you're just going to verify your region and you're going to click allocate. Once you have your IP, the first thing you're going to do is give it a name so that you know what it is when you come back into your Elastic IPs, and save. Now we allocated an IP, but we didn't actually assign it to the instance. So now we need to associate it with an instance. So you're going to click on that, or you can click actions, either one. We can click associate Elastic IP. And we're going to choose an instance. And we're going to choose the instance we just created, which is running, and it's the app server. And we are going to select the private IP that belongs to that instance. And we're going to click associate. And that is done. Now we can go back to our instance and we should see our public IP now assigned. If you just click refresh, you should see that. And here we go. So now we have our public IP assigned, and in order to access this server, we need a password. So you get that password, and it's a one-time password. Basically, when you log in with this password, you need to change the password on the instance the first time. So we're going to click on our instance, we're going to click actions, and we're going to click get Windows password. And as you can see, we cannot retrieve the Windows password right now because the instance is not associated with a key pair. The administrator password may only be retrieved for instances that are associated with a key pair when launch. Okay, so we can't get this password right now because the instance is not ready. Basically, that's why it's telling us that. So we're going to click close. We are going to wait for it to pass checks. Okay, so we see the instance has passed the checks. So now we are going to click actions and get Windows password. All right, so now we have our, we see the app server key is what we use to encrypt our instance. And now we need to prove that we have that private key pair so that we can get the password. So we're going to browse. I am going to select my app server key. It's loaded, and we are going to decrypt. And that's how you get the password to log into your server. And you see this long password here. All right, so I'm not worried about this being on YouTube because I'm going to be shutting all this down. This is purely for demonstration purposes. So I have my RDP session. This is my public IP. I'm going to enter the username, which is administrator, and we're going to click connect and connect. Now I'm going to copy the password, enter that password, and open. And you're going to click yes. Now we wait for it to log in completely. And we're now logged into our server. Okay, and that's it. Now you have access to your Windows server. I will say the first thing you want to do once you're in here is to go ahead and change your administrator password. If you scroll on over to the far right, you will see all the specs for this server, the host name, instance ID, public, private IP, the instance size, AZ, memory, so it's awesome. It gives you all the specs on the right top right corner of the screen. All right, guys, that's it. That's how you launch your Windows EC2 instance. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.